Good evening, everybody. We are so sorry we are starting a bit late. We had some hitches we needed to attend to. Sorry about that. Our guest is already in the speaker and we are bringing her in. So, welcome everybody to day 4 of the Proactive Parents Conference 2021. Our guest today is Irene Bangwell, and I'm going to read a brief of Irene's profile and then she comes in a moment. Irene Bangwell is an educator and a parenting coach. As an educator, she and her husband Kingsley are the co-founders of 900 Naira a Day Secondary School Kuje. She's a private public This is a private public secondary school designed for children for low-income families. As a parent coach, Irene is the creator of the Body Smart Bundle for Girls, a biblical abstinence-based sex education tool for girls, educators, and parents of girls. Irene's goal is to provide the next generation of girls with quality knowledge, skills, and support that enable them make God-honoring, self-honoring sex decisions. We will share Irene's Instagram handle after her session so that we can all get to know where to find Irene. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in the stage, Irene Bangwell. Welcome, sis. Thank you for being here.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm doing very well. Thank you.
Okay, I understand you had a bit of an emergency. You're good, right?
Yes, yes. It's from my little baby. So he started running temperature and I needed to attend to him immediately. So I had to share the messages everywhere so we can start a bit late. He's fine
Not a
now.
problem at all. All right.
You look so beautiful. So we are leaving the stage for you.
Okay. So, I didn't think
You
this
look
meeting was today. Oh, so let me
no
just give
problem.
out a disclaimer. All right. So, good evening, sis. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor for me to be here today. So,
Thank
I'm
you,
just going
ma.
to
Thank
talk from
you.
my heart today. Good evening.
Please do.
All right. So, hello everyone. Welcome to the Proactive Parents Conference. My name is Irene Bangwell. I've been asked to speak on raising girls. My name is Irene Bangwell. I'm a raising girls coach. I run the Raising Girls with Irene Bangwell Facebook community and then YouTube channel. I also run the Instagram handle at raisinggirls.ng. I'm very passionate about raising girls, and sometimes I like to think that um, passion is just how God gives you opportunity to take credit for something He really wants to do. So I like to think that raising girls, I know that raising girls is something that God's heart beats for. I happen to be one of those people that God is walking through right about now. So I'm just blessed to be where God is working. So I'm going to spend the next couple of minutes talking about girls, and then I'm going to await to see questions and comments that I can answer that you may have, and so on and so forth. So first and foremost, every time I get the opportunity to talk about raising girls, it's always proper for me to start from the very beginning of the origin of girls. The reason why talking about raising girls is such a pressing thing is because we grew up in Africa, and Africa, not enough value is placed on the woman. Not enough value. There are people who may contest that. Well, I have some stories to back that up. So it's not unusual to find, anyways, improving, but while growing up, it wasn't unusual to find families who had all girls going through a lot of discrimination. It's not unusual. It wasn't also unusual to know that when fathers died, their daughters did not have a right to their inheritance because, I mean, it's considered that she's married, she's gone. I mean, it's not also unusual to hear that when families have limited funds, they always choose to educate the boys most of the time over the girls. But many of these things I'm saying, they are changing, they're improving, but there's something wrong in the picture. There are advancements around honoring girls a different way now in society, definitely. Unfortunately, the discrimination of women or looking down on women is not only about whether women get inheritances or not. There are some other soft work that goes on that limits the quality of a woman's life. Soft work, like I've heard someone say that it doesn't matter how much a woman achieves, if she's not with a man, she's nothing. Soft work. You see that kind of thing? I've also seen situations where somebody say, "Hey, marry any, even if he's a man with disability," and they use it first, which is disrespectful to a person living with disability in the first instance. But they also use it to mean that anyhow, just be married because it doesn't matter who you are, not much achievement if there's no man in the picture. Women need to have a title to be respected. And so one of the things that God is calling me to do is to engage the next generation to say, look, we've missed it in the value we place on women, and it has an impact on them. I say this all the time. We've made boys the goalpost of the lives of women. From when a child is born, she knows that if she's a girl, then it's always all about marriage. It's always all about marriage. Not enough attention is paid to the design of the girl. And for tonight, I want to talk about the design and the purpose of the girl. Not enough attention is paid to the design of the girl. So you have a daughter, and somehow you're blinded by her ability to draw, her ability to talk. You're blinded by her compassion. You're blinded by her intelligence at school. All you manage to lump her into is one day she's going to be married. And so from when she's really, really young, there's conversation about her marrying. From even before she gets into teen years, there's a lot of things about marrying. One day you're going to be a wife. One day you're going to be a mother. One day you're going to be a wife. One day you're going to be a mother. What that does is it makes girls, make boys the focus of their lives. So when a boy pays them a compliment, it looks like they've achieved their purpose. When a man says that she's beautiful, she is all over the place. I mean, she feels like, oh, she's achieved purpose. So from very young, girls can oftentimes open themselves up to all kinds of abuse by the opposite sex because their lives have always been designed to be about boys anyway. So they are always trying to, they're trying to expose themselves. They're trying to please the guy. The guys are the ones choosing the spec of the girl that is beautiful. The girls are struggling to fit into that mold, to be the one that the guy likes in school. The girl doesn't ever stop to think. Let me not put it that way. I wonder why the girl hardly stops to think that, what about her? What's her own spec? And so someone says, Irene, is it that bad? Yeah, it is that bad. It is that bad because the girl is the grown woman in a house where her husband is beating her up and she's staying. Same girl. Same girl hanging out with a boyfriend who's been violent for 5 years. Same girl. She's doing so well academically, but when it comes to the man part of her life, she's zero. Not enough intelligence is given to girls to equip them on how they interact with boys. Now, because everything is all about boys, two things happen in the picture. Number one, girls don't get enough information to know how valuable they are. They don't know their opinion counts. They don't know their taste counts. They don't know that they're supposed to have standards about the men around them. They don't know anything man and how I feel. They don't realize that you can love someone, but they're not good for you. And so you don't be with them. So girls grow up knowing that everything is all about boys. And every time a girl gets to know who she is and what she wants, society labels her as rebellious, will not submit, without realizing that submission only counts when someone is in a marriage. While she's a young person, there's nobody to submit to, only God. So we have one part where girls don't even know how to relate with boys, and then we have the other part where girls are completely blinded by their own gifts, by their own beauty. How many women do you pay compliments to and they accept it and say thank you? Hey, hello, sis, your hair is so beautiful today, for instance. Hey, your own too is beautiful. She can't say thank you. She can't say, oh, that's nice. She can't say, yeah, I thought so too. She does not know that she can pay herself compliments. She does not know that she can sit down and count her gift and ask God, how do you want me to use this gift and talent? She thinks that, oh, once a man compliments her, I'm sorry, that's about everything. And I truly have a problem with these two things. Number one, girls not getting adequate sex education, girls not being aware that they have gifts, they have talents, and above all, they have an assignment on the earth. So let me give you an instance. Let me relate this, put this in a bit of a context. Science says that when girls, let me use girls, get into puberty and all those brain and hormonal changes are happening in their body and in their brain, that these things go on all the way until they're 21, right? Hormonal changes, fluctuations in their moods, and all of those things go on until they're 21. And it's all puberty, right? So usually I recommend that girls shouldn't date until after that phase is over. Yeah, because they can't even judge the guy, right? Especially because we're not even giving them the right kind of education. They're not as logical, right? They can't think through situations. Little girls date boys who are cheating on them. They know who they're cheating with, then the girls fight each other because girls have not been taught to value each other. I hardly see two men fighting for a woman because they feel like, yeah, they are the point of attention. And so when a woman puts two men in an awkward situation, one withdraws because they're not supposed to be, they're not taught to be in that kind of arena. But because boys is everything we have to do, the girls have to fight. That was a digression. So anyway, these brain changes are happening all the way till the 21, so the girl is not ready to date. And let's say she starts to date and blah 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 blah, gets married at 25. So I want to know, are you telling me that God's purpose for the first 25 years of her life is that she should do nothing but wait for a man? If I know God, it cannot be so. The Bible says, occupy till I come. So your daughters have gifts, your daughters have talent, and that's the priority to start with. As you're sending them to school, primary, secondary, university, emphasis needs to be placed on who your daughter is, what her gifts are, what her talents are, exposing her to experiences that help her discover who she is. Your daughters must come to a place where they love themselves, discover who they are, ever before they start thinking about men in their lives. If not, they're going to miss it. They're going to end up with people that they're not supposed to be with. They're going to end up with people who can't stand their grace or stand their gift or stand the things God is doing in their lives. Most of the time, they're going to end up not doing what God has called them to do. So it's very critical that from when your girls are pretty much very young, we start to encourage her to, one, have an opinion, have a say in what is cooked at home, have a say in the decoration of her room, have a say in what she wears, have a say in different things. Our work is to give her experiences where she builds her critical thinking skills in decision making, in expression, her communication skills as well, right? So it's very critical for us to develop our girls in that wise ever before. So think about it as things I need to make sure that my daughters acquire before they turn 21. You get the idea? So we need to nurture their gift, nurture their talent, so that when they meet someone, they're not asking for the person to validate them. They're not asking for the guy to say, oh, you're so intelligent. They already know. I mean, they collect their report sheets every day, so they should know that they're intelligent. It shouldn't be a default mode that when they meet a guy, they want to tone down. Something is wrong with that. When boys meet girls, they don't tone down. They want to show you what they have because, I mean, it's like a peacock. They want to show you that they are worth the onions. But many times, many girls think boys do them a favor when they pay them compliments or ask them out, which is why, again, I say girls should tone down till they're 21 and not date anybody so that they have their sensibilities well developed. The second thing that I want to say is said quite a lot of things already. Second thing I want to say is now because we know that there are two problems, like I have mentioned today, not complete, it's not exhaustive, like two problems that girls face growing up, which is one, silence on their gift and talent, two, an over exaggeration of boys. So I've talked about making sure that there's no silence on her gift and talent. Pay attention to it, nurture it. School results have come in July. Go and look at that result. Forget about position and average. Look at subjects that your daughters show incredible strength in. Look at subjects, even if the subject is CRK, even if the subject is civic education, even if it's a basic subject, look at it and ask her, oh, you seem to have a lot of interest here. What do you enjoy about it? Start being used to having conversations where your daughter talks about the things she's interested in so that you bring it in front of her eyes. She begins to recognize her own patterns. She begins to recognize her own strength, her gifts, and her talents, that kind of thing. But when you're done with that, The next step is to make sure that you're providing your daughters adequate sex education, right? Because it is the sex education part that helps your daughter, essentially helps your daughter make responsible decisions when she's around men. I just want to say, okay, everyone's sex education, very simple. Knowledge, skills, and resolve to make responsible sex-based decisions. Responsible is the word that I'm using. You're providing your children, yeah, knowledge, skills, and resolve. Knowledge to know what's going on with their bodies, skills to know how to navigate, resolve to make responsible decisions. So let me start with knowledge, for instance. Many children start seeing changes in their bodies and the bodies of their friends, and yet they don't have any trusted adult to talk to. Parents are shying away from talking about sex because every time you mention the word sex education, parents seem to hear intercourse education, and it's not the same thing. Sex education is all about gender, the best way to operate in the gender that God has designed for you to be in, and the best way to learn how to relate with someone of the opposite gender. That's sex education. From when they're 3 to 5, there are things that they shouldn't allow both people in the same gender and the opposite gender to do to them. So if you didn't want to use the word education, you could use the word body smartness. You want them to learn how to be smart about how their body, how to care for their body, how to protect their body, how to honor their body, that kind of thing. So you start out with, I'm talking about knowledge now on the pillar for sex education. So we're looking at knowledge now. I'm saying when children start growing up, they're seeing changes in their bodies, they don't know who to talk to. Parents are shying away from talking. But maybe when I'm talking about changes, I'm going too far. So we start having kids at age 3, curious about where did I come from? Where do babies come from? And parents are hiding, parents are saying false things. And because it's not satisfactory to the children, they move from there and go to ask other people. They move from there and go to talk with other people about stuff. And from there, children are introduced to very strange values. And sometimes, if they are not careful, they can be abused in the process of trying to find things out. So you have girls that are growing up, they don't know anything. Did you know that there are many girls who've been abused up till today, little girls, who don't even know that it is abuse? I mean, I work with teenagers, and sometimes you'll be shocked how many girls make excuses for boys that touch them inappropriately. Because I think it was a mistake because they have not been taught that it is abuse. They don't even know that it is abuse. As people are talking about the rate of women that have been abused before a certain age, I still believe that those numbers are underestimated. I still believe that those numbers are underestimated. For instance, I was 9 years old when my music teacher called me one particular day and I went into his office and he put his hand in my vagina. I've never talked about it until 3 years ago. Normally, when people used to say girls were molested and abused, I used to say, thank God I've never been molested. Thank God I've never been abused. Until I listened to someone describe what molestation was. And then it dawned on me that, oh, that's what that man did. Do you know how many girls are walking on the earth right now who don't even know what abuse is? So sex education brings to knowledge that if someone does this to you, that's inappropriate, that's wrong. And so now because they know it is wrong, they can be proactive, they can protect themselves better. So many girls are not even aware of many things. By the time their bodies begin to have to experience the changes, they start to have breast boards, or their nipples are paining them, or they start to see their periods. There's very limited knowledge. So what happens is when things start happening, they start to talk to their peers. And the question I'm asking, what do you think their peers answer? Their peers, they're all in the same boat. So they'll pass on misinformation, outrightly false information. They'll pass on meat after meat, old wives' tales after old wives' tales, and they'll pass it on. For instance, they have certain myths they believe that you can't get pregnant after having sex once. And I'm sitting down and saying, where did they get this information from? Because an adult can't tell them that. It has to be information that they are just passing around within themselves because the adults are not coming into their world to provide the education that they need. We're not providing them the knowledge that they need. They believe that while having sex, if a guy pulls out, you don't get pregnant. They're not even aware that while intercourse is going on, sperm is getting into your body, and sperm doesn't just get into your body through orgasm alone. They don't even know that. You get the idea? So there's a lot of knowledge that is missing that girls should acquire that helps them manage how they perceive the opposite sex. So imagine that your little girl who thinks that a boy's world is a boy's word to her is everything, a compliment from a boy is everything. Think about that, your daughter, who thinks that the world, her entire world starts and ends with a boy. And then that boy walks up to her and tells her, I like you so much. Already she's vulnerable. I like you so much. Let's have sex. I will not come inside you. I'll pull out. Don't forget that she might have even heard what sex is from another place with weird descriptions and everything. And then she does it once, then she misses her period. What are you saying? So girls need a lot of knowledge. There's a lot of information that our girls don't have. Our girls are not also aware that 5,500 girls in Nigeria, teenage girls in Nigeria, die every year from pregnancy-related situations. That information doesn't get to them. Many times they get pregnant and a friend says, oh, I'm going to take you somewhere. I'll take you somewhere, we'll get rid of it. Some of them, they give them pills. And when they take those pills, some of them lose their lives in the process. And the young man walks because girls are not aware of the consequences of certain decisions. Girls are not aware of how their bodies function. Girls are not even aware, right? So that's the knowledge part. Let's talk about the skills part. So there's going to be pressure coming, and many parents feel that, oh, once I tell my daughter that if you get pregnant, I disown you, they believe that, oh, they've given the perfect master class. Or when they say if a boy touches you, they've done the best. What they don't realize is that when puberty hits, the brain of the child is gullible. When puberty hormone starts to rage, your child will feel crushed, your child will be vulnerable. So the next level is supposed to be teaching skills. Now, you can't teach skills if you didn't provide adequate knowledge. So for instance, I expect girls to know that, man, there's a music dancing in their brain when they get into puberty. But also they need to know that that music is also playing in the brain of boys. So when a boy says you're beautiful, they should smile and say, yeah, it's the hormones talking. Don't worry. They shouldn't take it seriously. And if they have rock solid self-esteem, then it doesn't matter whether a boy compliments them or not. And this should be our goal. If we want to see a generation of girls who make responsible decisions, our goal is to provide them knowledge, arm them with knowledge, honor the gifts that God has put inside of them, and give them such a self-esteem that does not depend on a boy for validation. Now, after they've known that, they need to understand the nuances of what changes in their bodies are going to happen around the time they're in puberty. Now, when they understand the nuances, they'll play defensive. They'll play on the defense. They'll play on the offensive, meaning that they know what is going on in their body. All right. So skill part is where your daughter feels a crush, but she knows what to do about it. Skills part is where there are so many trends going on and people are pulling at her. There's peer pressure, but she knows how to go about it. She knows when to be accountable. She knows what to do when she's feeling a crush. That's the skills part. The skills part is so comprehensive. When I was designing the Body Smart Girl bundle, I took the time. That book, How to Talk with Your Girls About Sex, has 17 skills that girls should have and how to teach it to them. And it is so cross-cutting. It cross-cuts from self-esteem skills to protective skills to body honoring skills. There are like 17 skills in the parenting book, How to Talk with Your Girls About Sex, because it is a priority. All right. So let me come to the resolve part. Resolve means that your child has the conviction to do responsible things. So let me start. I'm going to talk about resolve again from two parts. First, resolve means that your daughter has the conviction that God designed her for a reason and she's ready to pursue her purpose. The second part of the resolve is that she resolves that she will honor her body while on her journey to her purpose. When I talk like this, some parents may begin to think that, oh, Irene, you're trying to make girls not want to marry boys. I say, no, I'm not. If I'm introducing girls to God, then they'll be fine. My point is they cannot worship the idea when they're young. They're going to make poor decisions, but they should work with God. Early last year when I started working on this project, on the Body Smart Girl Bundle project, the Holy Spirit told me to tell girls that He supplies boyfriends. that he will meet their need to have boyfriends, but at the right time. So if I heard him correctly, then it means that he is capable. When your daughter has the resolve to walk with God, that God is capable of bringing the boyfriends at the right time. And if your daughter is in tune, until she sees a boy that looks like who God sent, she can wait, knowing that I'm not alone. I have a God that can fix everything, including my need to have a boyfriend. You get the idea? So, resolve is that your daughter now sees that they're not just saying, I won't have sex just to impress you, mother, or to impress you, father. They don't want to do it. They want to honor God themselves. And these are all things that we can teach as parents. All right. So they asked me today to talk about raising girls who reign. A girl who reigns is a girl who does those two things, has the conviction that her life was designed purposefully by God for a reason, and she's ready to pursue it. Number two, she is body smart. She understands her body, she understands herself. And you know that scripture that says, we put our flesh under. Her parents have provided her such knowledge and skills that she knows how to put herself under so that she can meet the mark. And the mark should always be for every girl, being everything that God designed for them to be. Yes, the mark should always be for girls to be everything that God designed for them to be. That's a 10 over 10 girl. She's covered all the grounds that God made provision for her to cover. She's everything that God designed for her to be. And I always want to remind us that number one, God designed girls with gifts and talents. Number two, God designed girls for his glory. The first time God meets woman, Genesis 1, he gives the same command to men and to women. Dominate the earth, replenish the earth. And there's so many ways to do that. There's an electrical engineer in your house, that's your daughter. There's a fashion designer that is going to put the people in Paris to joke. She's in your house and she's probably wearing diapers. There's a politician in your house. She's a girl. Guess what? God doesn't make mistakes. If God put all those gifts and talents in your girls, then trust me, there's a woman somewhere, there's a man somewhere raising a son who can handle it. This idea of raising girls to be less because we feel that men will be insecure is anti the will of God. There are many women today who God had divine assignment for, and they just let it go because they didn't want men to be intimidated. There is a woman under the command of God raising the son that would marry your daughter and watch her fulfill that purpose. Stop thinking for God. Do your part. At most, keep reminding God that this is my daughter that I'm investing in. Make sure like this. There's a son that can marry her. Can you hear me, sis? Right? Make sure there's a son that can marry her. That's not your problem. All right. So raise her to be everything that God designed for her to be. Number four, there is only one woman on earth there's only one man on earth that a woman is supposed to submit to. And that's a man who's married her, paid her dowry. He's called husband. Now, if he's a man who loves and honors God, then submission to him will not mean living the will of God. Because again, if your daughter starts to walk with God, she's going to find the man who is okay with her being everything that God designed for her to be. Number five, marriage is a part of life. We need to raise our girls and prepare them for life as a whole. Because marriage is a part of life, but life is more than marriage. I can imagine some young girls who just recently got married, maybe this year, all the fancy, they're so excited, they're now wedded and everything. When they finish getting married, it hits you. So now what? What next? Because marriage is a part of life, but life is more than marriage. So I hope I've been able to help you see that if you want your daughter to reign, which for me means to live out everything that God designed her for, if you want your daughter to reign, for me, it means that raising a girl who becomes everything that God designed for her to be. then for me, these are some things you need to think about. All right. So let me take your questions. Hey sis, I think you should come back so that I can take questions now. Hey, so let me hear your comments. Let me see your questions. If you're watching this as replay, still perfect. Yeah, I'm just saying here that Coach Vivian was saying that's our reality in Africa, unfortunately. Yeah, our reality is to raise girls for just marriage. Meanwhile, life is more than that. I can't hear you, sis. I can't hear you. I think your mic is on mute. I can't. I can only see your lips. I can read your lips.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, okay. Yes. We are streaming in 4 different places, so you may not be seeing all the questions.
Okay. So please
We are
ask.
streaming in YouTube. Yes, someone is asking from YouTube. Where is the Body Smart bundle? How can we get it?
So fantastic. The Body Smart Girl bundle, you can get it when you send me a DM on Instagram. So look for the handle raisinggirls.ng. Send me a DM and just type Coach Vivian. I will know that you're coming from here, and I'll send you a link where you can read all about the Body Smart Girl bundle. And let me just throw some light on the Body Smart Girl bundle if you don't mind. So the Body Smart Girl bundle is a package that contains 11 resources. So I'm going to run through each of them. The first one is the book I talked about, How to Talk with Your Girls About Sex. That book is specifically designed for parents. Then we have 5 body smart doodle books for girls. That means sex education for your girl. Your daughter is reading her own book directly. So there are 5 because one is for 3 to 5 year olds, 6 to 8 year olds, 9 to 11, 12 to 14, and 15 plus. So we get your daughters reading and learning about sex education. But then finally, we have a pack of cards called What If Conversation cards for the 5 age groups, but it's supposed to be used by parents and their daughters. The reason is that parents need to get comfortable talking about sex. So we've designed these flashcards that allows the daughter ask a question and the father or the mother have a card that have an answer to the question the girl is asking, an answer or a hint on how the parent should answer. Because one of the things that girls really need is quality adults giving them quality information. They have to come back to those adults. They have to stop circling around their fence, exchanging information with their peers. So the what if cards, there are 5 boxes for 5 age groups, 5 body smart doodle books, and the how to talk to girls about sex. Now the entire bundle cost 18,500 naira. So all you need to do is send me a DM on raisinggirls.ng, and then I'll be able to answer your questions.
Okay. Okay. We'll share that link later in the
Yes,
group.
ma'am. Yes. Thank you, Olive Dog.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay.
Yes,
Some
ma'am.
other some other questions. One other question you have to answer
Yeah?
says says about the project. Can you throw more light about that project for girls? I don't know the project.
Maybe it's my boot camp.
Okay, because someone said, can you throw more light about the project?
Okay, maybe it's when I was talking about the Body Smart Girl project. Yeah, when I was working on the project. It's the books
Okay.
that I released on April 5th. I just finished describing. Yeah. I talked about that earlier. I started out working out resources for parents and their girls on sex. And so it's when I was working on those resources, I was getting those highlight moments where God was just speaking to me about what he wanted girls to know. Hello, sis. Are you there?
Okay. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you,
Very
sis.
grateful
Thank you,
that
sis.
you had to honor. Thank you very much. We will share the details later on how people can get to Irene on Rosen Girls Instagram.
Yes. Raisinggirls.ng. Hello, sis. There's a question here. I don't know. I think Vivian is frozen. So Olive Doc asked the question. She said, my girls are way too confident. Olive, if you can hear me answering you, please leave a comment and say, Irene, I can hear you. She said, my girls are way too confident. She said, my girls are way too confident. They feel they can conquer anything. I get scared sometimes. What can I do? So number one, just pray for them. Number two, know that sometimes what is scaring you might be the boundaries, might be the things that you were told growing up that are just creeping up in your head. Number three, teach them to respect other people, because sometimes what your fear is whether they're going to trample on other people. I don't know if I'm saying your mind. You may feel that they're way too confident. They may take things for granted. They may take other people for granted. So number one, deal and pray for them. Number two, deal with the fact that sometimes your fear is coming from the walls and the box that you were put in. So now you've done such a nice job. You're now beginning to fear that some of the things you were warned about might just happen to them. So it might be happening in your head. But in order for us to balance out, teach them how to respect other people, which is very critical. Spend time and talk to them about processes. So for instance, they want to be president. You might have a daughter. I have a girl who is coming to the Body Smart Girl Boot Camp who wants to be Nigerian president. And I'm all for her. I'm all for her. I have a daughter who wants to be a governor, right? So my work is to teach her respect for other people, to teach her what it means to be a leader, and then number three, to teach her that life has process. So just because you think you can does not mean there's no work for you to do. All right, doesn't mean there's nothing for you to do to bring it to pass. Okay, so deal with the fact that you can pray to God about them. Number two, understand that it might just be the boxes that you were told to limit you. It's those voices coming back so that you can, live the fear that these things they told me may happen to my daughters. So if you pray, you've taken care of it. But now, in the real sense of it, teach them to respect other people, teach them about process, teach them about process. And like I added earlier, teach them leadership, which means creating an idea and walking through, because if they think they can do anything, then it means that they need to learn the discipline. That is not, it's not just a wish. There is a discipline that works with moving from what you would like to do to actually having it. So let me know if I have answered your questions. Thank you so much, Olive. So I think Vivi is having a problem with her network. Let's just give her some time before she comes back in, before we draw the curtains. All right, all right. So anyone else, if you're on YouTube, because I can only see the YouTube feed for now, please leave me a question. Please leave me a question. If you can see the YouTube feed and you have if you're watching on YouTube and you have a question, please send a question so that we can just keep going. In the meantime, yes, Olive, thank you so much. You said absolutely so correct. Yeah. We grew up with so many limitations. It's not difficult for us to bring it up and try to project it on our children. It's not difficult at all. It's not difficult for that to happen. So once you start sensing that your grandmother has started whispering to you, yeah, yes. Once you start noticing that your grandmother has started whispering to you, you know how to deal with it. But then you don't just wave it away, because sometimes your instinct may be right. So you address it. One of the things that our parents didn't do at the time was, when they suspected something could happen, instead of preparing us for that thing, they hid us from those experiences, and many of those experiences were going to be right. We're going to refine whatever it is that God had put inside of us. All right. So I'm waiting. Let me see. 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 Okay. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Coach Vivian will soon be here. Let me see if I can see any other questions. Let me go into the Facebook group just in case there are other questions. All right. So I've been having a little bit of issues with my phone. Messages were not dropping, but they started dropping now. I don't know, how do I make that? So Coach Vivi, we're waiting for you. We hope you come in soon. Thank you, Olive Dog. Is that thank you, Irene? You put my words to word. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sis. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to hear your story and be a part of it in my little way. Thank you. All right. So. Okay. Oh, something is not right. So anyway, let me just be reading. Okay. Let me just be reading. Let me just be waiting. Yeah, this is one of those days Nigerian technology is doing whatever it's doing. And this is why we need to raise all our children, both boys and girls, to just think and create and do a lot of stuff. There's so much problems in Nigeria. And I tell you, it is us that are going to solve these problems. It is our children. It's our children that are going to solve this problem. They're not in Nigeria by coincidence, okay? I once listened to one of the women I admire a lot, Madame Ibukwa Wushika, talk about, she came to speak in a conference. Hello, Rosaline. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you. So I listened to Mrs. Awoshika talk about how that when people say women are not meant to do anything, that is akin to going for a war and fighting with only one hand. So you have two hands, but you say, oh, your left hand is a weaker vessel. So you fight with only the right hand. You're not going to get the right balance because there's a place for this hand, a place for the other hand. So Liv Dog says, another question. My 11-year-old is currently crushing on a boy. How do I handle this? We're very open and share, but I want to be sure I do the right thing. So number one, Olive Dog, I would like to have your princesses at the Body Smart Girl Bootcamp that is starting next week, all right? So I'm hosting this Smart Girl Bootcamp where we're going to talk about a lot of these kinds of stuff. So if you would like to register your girls, let me know. But let me answer your question, by the way. So it's a great thing. Thank you so much, Jude. So it's a really great thing that your daughter can talk to you about her crush. First and foremost, I need you to know that having crushes is very natural. There is nothing they can do about it. It's part of the brainwave. I'm saying only doc healthcare, so I can imagine you're a medical doctor or you work in the medical field, so you know these things I'm saying. So, but now when it starts to happen, here are a few things to do. Number one, tell them to talk to you and not friends. Ask me, Irene, is that even possible? I say, yeah, it is possible, and there's a reason. When they start having feelings of crush, the feelings become exaggerated by excitement from other people. Don't forget that crushes are supposed to be temporary. They are baseless emotions, right? But now when they talk to their friends, when they talk to their peers, the peers tickle it. They make it grow. They blow it out of proportion. So for instance, they call a friend and say, oh, they like Akin. Akin in just 2B. I like him. I feel somehow about him. Say, no wonder he was looking at you like this. He was doing this, he was doing that. Now, when they start having those conversations that feed the crush, it increases how long the child stays and expands, it amplifies the crush in their mind. So, for instance, if they just liked a guy and they just came to you, mommy, to talk about it, you don't see him, so you have nothing to say to foil it. After a while, it calms down. Yes, Rosalind, I think it's going to be on YouTube, but you can come back to watch it, yeah? So, after a while, because you didn't foil it, it calms, right? But when they talk to their friends start to relate instances. Yesterday, when you were coming down the staircase, there's the way he looked at you. And it's possible Akin didn't see her. So now, because they're talking to their friends, they exaggerate it. And then some friends walk up to the boys and tell the boys, hey, Modupe has a crush on you. And once they do that, they create opportunity from all kinds of awkwardness and possible misbehaviors in the process. So I always recommend to the girls to talk to their moms. I've been in rooms where I told girls to talk to their moms and they screamed. One girl in particular looked at me and said, I can't do that. My mother is going to say, is that what she sent me to do in school? My mother is going to threaten to change my school. And in my mind, I was just like, then your mother is a hypocrite because your mother has experienced crushes before. And the reason she went before you is so that she can show you the survival kit. She can hand you the survival kit for this season. So what I tell parents to do, if you've been in that place where you don't know what to say, I'm going to reel it out now. I was giving all those explanations to give you the context. Number one, when they feel a crush, they should come and talk to you about it. Number two, you can make crushes an opportunity for your daughter to learn more about herself. So like I tell my daughters, keep a journal. When you feel a crush, carry the journal and write what you like about this person, right? Articulate what you like about this person. Many times, crushes are fickle. So at the point where they are to articulate what they like about the person, you burst the bubble without telling them something that will make them not come back again. So I'll tell my daughter, look, write down what you like about him. When they're done, I'll now say, okay, two things. Number one, what do teachers say about this person? I'll ask them, what do teachers say about this person? Because sometimes when they feel a crush, they can't see the person's imperfection. So I say, what do teachers say about this person? What do other people in your class say about this person? Are they kind to only you or they are kind to other people as well? Is it okay if I meet them? Would you like it for me to meet them? I can meet them without saying anything. Like I've gone to my child's class before, greeted all the boys, including two boys in the class she had a crush on. One's phase was finishing, the other one was starting. And I could clearly see that the boys also liked her. So I got into the picture. So every time I come to pick, I give them high five. I reduce the need for them to think that there's something to sneak around about, right? But also, I take time and tell her, let's look at the things you like about this boy. So if she likes superficial things like how he dresses, I'll say, what about if he steals? What about if he lies? What if he does this? What if he does that? And I use that to expand their scope to say, when you're liking someone, these are the other factors to consider. You get the idea? Vivian is laughing. Omo, not like that. Oh.
I will
Not like that.
share
And the
your
children,
Instagram. I will share this Instagram handle and I will share it in the group so that we can get to you.
thank you,
The
sis.
next session will begin in a moment. This
Yes, so
this
let me start
conversation will
leaving
not
now.
end.
Thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out with me. Thank you, Rosalind, Jude, Olive Doc, and everyone that was watching from Facebook. I hope you had a good time. Thank you.
Okay,
All
Vivian
right,
is
all right,
saying,
all right. Thank you so much, sis. Thank you. God bless you. Bye.
all right, ma'am.